So guys, it's time to settle the argument once and for all. LEDs make your computer run faster. Don't argue it, don't even question it. It's just fact. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some LED lighting strips from CableMod, and I like what I'm seeing so far. I really feel like these things are going to hit a niche market, especially since LED lighting strips there. There's not a whole lot of options, not nearly as many as I was expecting. So I really think CableMod's doing a good thing here. So as always, well, as the new always is, I'm going to go ahead and give you just a sum up of what I think is going on. I think CableMod's done a great job. The quality is exceptional. I don't know where you're going to find a better quality of LED strips. I think these things are going to last you a super long time. The other nice thing is that they are remote controlled, and that can be a plus or a minus. But if you do not like extra software running in the background, then these guys are probably going to be the ticket for you. So overall, if you're looking for an LED strip and you do not want them touching your operating system, CableMod is probably going to be the ticket for you. There's really nothing that I can say they did wrong. And really anything that I wouldn't prefer is exactly that, a preference. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about a few details that I noticed. Now, first off, you can see I've got one of the strips right here on the inside of my case. And if it looks kind of bright right now, well, you haven't seen nothing yet. Wait till I crank this thing up. Oops, got to point in the right direction here. So as you can see, these things get incredibly bright. In fact, if they're in a place where you have to look right at them, you probably won't want them that bright. But if you have a place where you've got a panel that can cover them, then you're probably going to just really appreciate how well this lights up the inside of your build. So let me go ahead and turn that thing back down because, yeah, it's a little bit overwhelming. And we're going to take a look at some colors now. Unfortunately, I don't have the kind of equipment that I can really show these off really well. And, you know, when I get a spare couple $1,000s, I will buy an awesome camera that does that well. But, yeah, you know, pipe dream. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and mess around with the colors. So the way CableMod does their RGB strips, now they also have just straight colors if you don't want to mess with any of the remote stuff. But they have a remote, and it's just this little guy right here. You get to change the brightness, you can turn them off, you can turn them back on, and then they even have a couple different settings. So you got like your flash right here, which will turn it to different colors. You can do like a strobe, and then, you know, of course, brings it back to the brightest settings, so I'm sure I'm looking whatever color's coming out of here. Got a fade here, where it just kind of easily fades between the colors, and then, you know, the last one there is the smooth. So you've got these different options, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this thing back to blue for the moment, and then put it back to the dim setting. So it's pretty cool that the way they got this remote. One of my minor complaints is I wish there was a way they could do an RGB spectrum so that you could actually scale the red, blue, green, you know, brighter or dimmer, and really customize that color from the remote. But as it is, they pretty well got just about any color you want. So here there's some green, and then we have some red, and then we have a bunch of different ones in between. So one of the colors I think was kind of weak is the purple. Now, it does show up differently, but on the camera you might not see much of a difference from that and blue. And it's still kind of a weak purple to begin with. But really outside of that, I mean, they've got a yellow here that looks very nice. They've got kind of more of a pinkish color, and that still comes out, like I said, a little more lavender. And then we've got some of the different shades of green that they've got going on. There's almost like some more kind of teal, and, you know, if I knew any more color names, I'd probably just have to be a girl. So you're just going to have to go with different shades of between green and blue. But overall, they look nice. They got a pretty nice range of spectrums. The oranges look good. The yellows look good. They've got a decent amount of options. The brightness range, like I said, once again, I'll just show that real quick, but man, look at that. It just gets really bright really fast. And right here in front of my face, too bright. But if it's with, I have my panel covering this slot here, it actually lights up the whole inside of the case really nicely. So overall, they did a great job on this. This is a good option for people who don't want extra software and that they have to mess with. You can easily set that and be done. All right, so just a couple other things before we, finish off and kind of sum everything up for one more time. So here's one of the longer strips that they have, and it's also one of the ones that isn't magnetic. Now, just a few really important things. Take a look at that. That is a Sata power connector. Thank you. No Molexes. There's just a quality to the idea of having a nice SATA connector. And as you can see here, they have an extra plug-in so that you don't actually have to take up the whole power. You can go ahead and pass through. So that's fantastic. Excellent design there. Here we've got these little tiny bridge connectors, and they might be a little hard to see, but they're just little 3 pins so that you can connect multiple strips together so that you can run off of the one power source, which is nice. Then right here, now what we have in this case right now is the 30 millimeter. But they also have a 60 millimeter option. I just wanted to show this. Also, the packaging is great. It's simple, but it's very nice, very well done, protects the product well. But when you look at how long these 60 millimeters get, they get really long. So unless you're really just wanting to cover like all of the edges, which I'd probably turn it this way if I was going to do that. Unless you're wanting to cover like the entire edges of your case, if you just need to just have like a couple of edges, the 30 millimeters are going to do most of your cases just fine. Like, so this one here is magnetic. I really like that. And magnet sticks really well. And so it just clips right in there, doesn't move around, it's great. But if you really want to make sure it doesn't go anywhere, they also use 3M tape. They're using a little bit better quality double-sided tape than most other LED strips use to really make sure that when you stick that in there, it's going to stay there for a long time. So yeah, I mean, CableMod, excellent job. These are just feel great. These strips they have a very nice thickness to them. They feel very sturdy. I think they did an excellent job on the quality here. Okay, so we looked at everything with the CableMod strips, kind of saw how they put together, saw how they have a really excellent quality. Question comes is, are they worth the cost and should you buy them? Well, I think that's pretty straight up answer. Yeah, if you're looking for this kind of LED strip, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. Prices, right now you can pick them up on Newegg. Most of their strips run right around $20, which is not bad. And then when you get into some of the higher range of strips, some of their RGB ones, they're running closer to like the low 30s, but they're still, I mean, I don't feel like that's an unreasonable price at all. And that's, the RGB strips that are 60 centimeters. So really, pricing's perfect. Yeah, I mean, it could be a little cheaper and then it would just be an absolute steal. But if you're like me and you're like, hey, I want to put an LED strip in my case, but I just want one color. I've got a theme. I don't need to change it. I don't need to do fancy stuff with it. Then you're going to want something that's just got good quality, and you can move from case to case down the road without having to worry about them falling apart or having issues with them. And some cheap LED strips, they almost they just kind of harden and get really bad shape. They burn out. There's just a lot of things that can go wrong. You got this nice wide beam LED technology, so they're just really shooting out there in all directions. Like I said, with the panel on, if I put this thing up to full blast and I've got my panel on, it lights up the entire inside of my build with one strip. I'm just like, well, shoot, let's just make the inside of my case look blue. I'm happy with that. So I think they've done an excellent job. For that reason, I'm going to go ahead and say that CableMod, your LED strips get a Pure Overclock Editor's Choice Award. Alright guys, well, once again, hope you enjoyed the review. If you like my channel, definitely please subscribe. Plan on bringing more and more reviews as much as I can. So subscribe, help me out, and I'm going to keep trying to bring more hardware stuff. Ask any questions you want. I'll try to answer as many as I can. And until next time, I'll catch you later.